Good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV, and this is the Fanzone. Now then, um, before I get into before I get into everything, the show and all that, I have a special announcement to make. And yes, it's about one of my viewers in the chat. He's currently in the chat at the moment. Sefton Mag. Yes, Sefton Mag. It is you, mate. Yes, because tomorrow, Sefton Mag is. Are you ready for it? The drum roll. Here we go. Ta-da! Tomorrow, Sefton Mag is 60 years of age. Happy birthday indeed, Sefton, and hope you have a great day tomorrow for your birthday. Not the best birthday present you want today with the new Sefton, but happy birthday tomorrow and 60 years young. Right, so before we do get into the show, if you do like what you see, please do hit that thumbs up. It does help the channel. So follow Sean the Sheep's Sad Face and hit them thumbs up for me, please. That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe, be part of this great community we have here. And also hitting that bell notification. Tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. If you want to become a member, it's 99p. You can do that by clicking the join button. And if you want to make a donation, you can do that in the chat by clicking the $sign as well. All money reinvested back into the channel. So, yes, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Fanzone. The link is there in the chat. It is pinned to the top. So if you want to come on, have a rant, have your say, then get yourselves on here, and don't be shy. If you are camera shy, you can always click the stop cam and you can talk from behind the camera. So you can do this and talk from behind the camera if you don't want to be seen on there. So you've got them options as well. Right, without further ado, let's get into some comments because we've got nobody in the green room as of yet. But as I say, somebody is 60 years of age tomorrow. Not be long before he gets his bus pass. David says, evening, Tony. Hope you're well. Good evening, David. I'm very well, mate. Thank you very much. Tiger says, get how out. Tyndall, Jones, the backroom staff, medical team as soon as possible. Yeah, not great on the injury front, is it? We'll touch on that in a moment anyway. Hi, Tony says, Bia, good evening, Bia. Evening all says, Sefton, good evening, Sefton. I did tell you that I was going to do that, didn't I? So, you did ask me if you could announce it, but I said, I'll do it for you. I'm the warmer post. How out, says Tiger. Tiger says, happy clappers after hearing the news. Be like Botman being poor for weeks. Sell him, idiots, and get them gone as well. Gutted about Botman, just couldn't make it up. You couldn't, could you? Evening, everyone, says Paul Mann. Good evening, Paul. I hope you're well. And thank you for becoming a member yesterday because you did go off the channel. I think you went to bed and then I did announce your membership last night. Chat, please, can you hit the like button, please? And if you're new, hit the subscribe. Thank you very much indeed, Sefton, mate. Thank you very much. Why is no one questioning how? Well, everybody's got to ask questions, haven't they, So, yeah. Evening, everyone. Good evening, Ian. Good evening, Julie J as well. David says a one medical side as well. Yeah. Coffee says hi, Tony, and all hi to you. Coffee, hope you're well. Nice new intro video, Tony. Just need some emojis now. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Glad you like that. It's been up for a while now. Is it the first time you've noticed it? Evening again, one and all. Good evening. Yes, I did put a video out earlier about Sven Botman a couple of hours ago. His injury. So if you haven't watched that, go and give it a watch, give it a like, and absolutely, thank you very much. Seen some people on Twitter saying fans are being too negative about the medical staff and professionals at NUFC. Well, look, But questions have got to be asked. Is it the medical staff? Or is it Eddie Howe pushing them to get these players so we can have them playing? Or is it Eddie's training methods? Who knows? But something's not right and it needs investigating. I'm officially old. Everybody now starting to say happy birthday to Sefton. Oh, thought you having a baby? No, not me, no. Bloody hell, I'm past that now, mate. Jesus, got two and that's enough now, mate. Evening, everyone says, Paul, good evening to you, mate. I've got two children who are grown up now, so thanks, Tony, and everyone supporting the tune for 60 years. Absolutely, Sefton, mate. And plenty more in the tank yet, Sefton. Hi, Tony. Hi, Julie. Hi, everyone else. Hi to you, Gary. Hope you're well, mate. Everybody wishing Sefton a very happy birthday. Paul Gardner says summer can't come quick enough, in my opinion. Absolutely not. Do you know what's end the season now, as far as I'm concerned? You know, end the season now. No more injuries then. David Veach says the head and assistant physios both work with Cashworth at the FA. Well, you think they would know better, wouldn't you? Proud to be 60 tomorrow. Absolutely, mate. It's a milestone. Make sure you have a good old drink as well. Paul says if Botman has had a dodgy knee, why have they been playing him for 9 months out, man? Absolutely, Paul. That is my question. Why has he been played? You know, it shouldn't be happening like that. I don't know why that went off there. But no, that shouldn't be happening, really, should it? We shouldn't be playing him, but yeah. I think Stevie just wanted to get his voice in there again. Paul saying happy birthday to Sefton, as is David. Are your kids older or younger than you, Tony? Well, they're naturally younger than me, aren't they? What question's that, Gary? What question's that, Gary, eh? What question's that? Key says Botman himself didn't want surgery as he didn't want to be out long term. Yeah, but then the medical staff should be overruling him and saying, no, you've got to, you know, that's it. That's what they should be doing. They should be overruling him. I mean, look, Botman's out 6 to 9 months. So best case scenario is he misses a month of the season. Worst case scenario, he's out at the end of the year. So, you know, it's... Once he's had his surgery, then it's down to the rehabilitation after that. And that, I believe his surgery is next week. So, just Gary. But yeah, his surgery is next week, so we'll find out more. You know, after that, after he has his surgery, is it a successful surgery? Let's hope it is. Sefton says, I started working as a steward at St James's Parkway back in 79 and on the turnstiles. Wow. That's a long time ago, Sefton. But yeah, so guys and girls, if you want to get yourselves on the show tonight, the link's there. Click the link, come into the studio. If I see you in the green room, I'll bring you straight on. Come and have your say. Have your say on all things Newcastle or football, or the Sven Botman situation, you know, whatever you want to have your say on, come on in and, you know, get you straight on. David says need 2 centre-backs in the summer now. Yeah, we will do, David. Absolutely, mate. You know, Mouth of the Tyne put out a tweet earlier on, you know, to say that, I mean, look, it was only a tongue-in-cheek tweet though as well, wasn't it? But he put a tweet on to say Dummett signed a new deal. BS says, can you believe Newcastle selling NFTs? We are going to have to suffer many gallant videos now. Well, do you know what it is? The NFTs, I mean, yeah, it's a new thing, but I suppose it's something else to generate money at the club, isn't it, as well? So, you know, I wasn't aware of what the NFTs were. It's some sort of trading card thing, so it's similar to like when you had physical trading cards. So we'll just have to wait and see. David makes a good point. He says, now we know why Lloyd, Kelly and Hall are needed next season. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can see that, can't you? Jam Stasher, hi Tony, hi everyone. The Botman news made me sick. Oh, do you know what, Jam Stasher? It was absolutely dreadful, that news coming out, wasn't it? But we can see why he hasn't been playing so well, because he's been carrying this injury. And it's only come to more fruition as it's been at Man City on Saturday. But look, at least he's now going to get the surgery. People are now saying Eddie Howe should move. Eddie Howe should move Burn into centre back. But you know what will happen? Howe will play either Trippier or Livramento right. Lascelles, Share on the left. And Burn will be the left back. You know that's what's going to happen. But as I said on these injuries, they're a joke because, look, it's getting the stage now where it's just getting ridiculous how many injuries we've had this season. I think that's actually injury number 30 this season. So we still not had as many as Real Madrid have had. They've had 32 this season. But the way we're playing Longstaff, the way Longstaff's constantly playing, he's constantly playing, getting injections. The thing is, this can only last so long. And if he breaks down, that could put him out for a long while. What's say it doesn't put him out for a year? It's just absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely. If players aren't fit, don't play them. Simple as. Do not play them. If they're not 100%, do not risk them. But no, we're risking them. And it's bloody embarrassing. That was a joke, says Tiger. David says, everybody wants a Longstaff trading card. Well, we want to keep them fit because Leeds, if they come up, we'll want to buy them in the summer. And quite happily so, sell them there. Will Dummer get a new contract now, says Coffee. Mad Mag says, Burn will be left back in the pocket. I give him my NFTs. Longstaff to Leeds and Emerson in to meet the 3 Brazilian amigos. Do you know what? That's not a bad shout, David. Absolutely. I could see that happening. Yeah, definitely. If Longstaff keeps playing, these injuries and injections could shorten his career. Definitely not a good play if you're injured. No, absolutely not. Not good at all. This is what I said in my video earlier, Gary says, God, I'll be pleased to the back of the season. It's been unbelievable. And it's caused so much toxicity, rightly or wrongly, amongst supporters. We need to stop blaming and just look ahead. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see what happens on that one as well, because, it's just getting a joke now, this injury situation. ACLs can be career-ending, says Ronald. Definitely, mate. They can. Absolutely, Ronald. And you're absolutely spot on. They can be. And the thing is, how will Botman come back from this? That's the thing. Remember, Livramento had one of these, and he's back and he's all right, and he thankfully. Callum Wilson's had 2. Now, there was a statistic put on by the Mail Online, and so what the Mail Online said, this was the injuries to Bournemouth players under Eddie Howe. Max Gradle, ACL tear, out for 6 months. Tyrone Mings, ACL tear, out for 9 months. Callum Wilson, ACL tear, out for 6 months at Bournemouth. There's a trend there, isn't there? But as I say, Botman spoke to Keith Downey, and obviously this was from January the 1st. After he thought he'd recovered from the rest for the first time, he says against Brentford in September, that's when he felt it. And And he said it wasn't until after the Sheffield United game that's when they found out there was an issue there, and he just had a rest. But I don't think the rest. I think he should have been put in the surgery straight away. I really do. I'll go through these comments and then we will go on to. But I still say the medical staff have got a lot to answer for in this, because there's something clearly not right here. And, you know, whoever's to blame, somebody needs to be held accountable. Maybe it's the medical staff. Maybe we get rid of the whole medical staff in the summer and we look for a whole new medical team. Excuse me. That's maybe the way forward. If we take Botman out when he should have been, he would be close to being back now. Yeah, spang on. Alessandro Jaime, he says, honestly, I'll sound like an asshole saying this, but Eddie deserves an injury-ridden squad. Maybe he'll learn to finally rotate his roster. Yeah, I mean, look, he should be rotating as well, you know. I mean, Hall came off the bench and looked better than what Burn did on Saturday. Burn's not a left-wing back. Everybody knows that. But, you know, it's, yeah. Mad Max says, completely agree with that, Gary. Well said, mate. Jam Stasher says, what do we want for the new season, August? Do we shift our focus to getting a new first-team centre-back instead of focusing on a right winger and a striker? But we'll still need to get a right winger, and we'll still need another striker in the summer, because we need a striker, that's for sure. David says, I wonder if Cashworth deliberately damaged players at our club, bringing his FA physios, knowing they would be off to Man U. Do you know what, David? Could well be. Could well be. Mark, good evening to you, mate. Hope you're well. He says, unreal injuries at Newcastle under Howe and company. I know it's just unbelievable, all these injuries, Mark, isn't it? You know, I've never seen it like this before. In all the years I've supported Newcastle United, I have never seen this before like this. Just horrendous. Coffee says, one Newcastle quiz video, Botman had a visible wound on his knee and it didn't look good. I'll have to have a check on that. Since the head physio left, there's been problems. Yeah, there has been, hasn't there? David says, so we need two centre-halves, holding midfielder to free up Bruno, a right midfielder to replace Mickey, and at least a new striker in the summer. Going to be cost a bit. Yeah, but remember, we got the sponsorship money from Seller coming in. We got the Adidas money. You know, we've got, you know, Champions League money. There'll be other sponsorship money, hopefully. So we'll see. And if Longstaff's a 30, 40 million player when fit, yeah, but he's only got 1 year left and needs one for 15 million. Ron says, glad that the mouth of time tweet was parody. He's going to get on and furious. Nah, it was just I think he was just taking the pee. The owners must be paid off as the injuries are assets. This medical team needs to be sorted. The players' careers boils my blood, absolutely, Paul. I said it earlier, boils my pee, to be fair. Tiger says, why do people keep saying Howe needs an injury-ridden squad? The same thing is going to happen time after time. He's not learning. Wake up. Well, he's supposed to have learned a lot, hasn't he, Eddie Howe? But we've not seen it yet. And Pete says, evening. Good evening to you, Pete. Hope you're well, my friend. Okay, so I have got somebody in the green room, and he's been waiting patiently while I've gone through the comments. And we'll get him on screen, and we'll get him in the studio, and we'll find out what he has to say. Is he a happy bunny, or is he a sad bunny? You know, is it whatever he wants to talk about? We'll bring him in anyway. Here we go. So, hello there, Lewis.
Same old Newcastle.
What do you want to say, Lewis?
I think it's sometimes the medical staff, but I think it's also Eddie Howe's training regime. If it seems like with what you said with like what happened to Bournemouth,
yeah,
it's the same injuries there. Forget about Pope. that was a freak accident when he was playing a game. That just happens in football. Freak injuries happen. But these injuries like the ACL, it's just time after time after time. It's just like, it pulls. It's sometimes maybe the medical stuff, as I said, maybe the training. It's just like, it's getting the joke now. It's just like, I don't know what to say. I'm just like, you know, it's so good last season, the highs, but this season just feels like we're pulling our hair out and go, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Who do you blame, Lewis? Do you blame the medical team for this? Do you blame the management? Who do you blame?
A mixture of both.
Yeah.
Like, in a way, I do blame Eddie for a bit as well, playing injured players, and I blame the medical staff for bringing them back too quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like sick to death. What's going on with the team now?
I mean, it's just, it's just been a horrible season with injuries, hasn't it? I mean, it always seems, Lewis, we get one player back and then we lose two players.
Yeah.
Like, and we had Anderson back, we had Willock back, and then we lost Trippier. It's just like, it's just bizarre, isn't it? And then obviously we didn't have Livramento the weekend because he was off with an injury. It's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think we should, if we had to, just bring some of the under 20, under 21, under 20, whatever you bloody call that league now, with our under 21s, under 23, bring them in, just to bring them in to build the squad. Because if that's the case, then we may as well play out under 23s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say anything about that new bloody sponsored by the NFTs. What we're doing.
I mean, Biaz put a comment here, which is fair enough. He says some of this is from carrying Deadwood in the squad. If we didn't have the Deadwood, we could rotate more and rest more. I mean, it's exactly that point.
Mm-hmm.
Once we can get rid of the, no disrespect, but I think the likes of Paul Dummett, Matt Ritchie, even Jamal Lascelles,
yes,
go in the summer and get new blood in.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we want to go to the next level, we got to get next level players.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, if I'm trying to think, like, get a player like Jude Bellingham, a player of that stature.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't get Jude Bellingham though.
I know. I was just doing it for a player like that.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find someone with that caliber, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe go look again. It just seems like we're going for English players. We don't need that. We want players who will be quite happy to come over, be good enough, and just get us our next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, it's, buying English players is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You can get as good player abroad or even better abroad for half the price you pay for an English player. I mean, look, Edison's worth about £40 million from Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're to buy that type of player in England, you're probably talking Declan Rice money.
100,
you know what I mean?
Million.
Yeah, so you're probably talking that sort of money. Or probably the upper echelons of, 70 million plus. But yeah, I mean, look, what was your thoughts Saturday about going out the cup, Lewis? How disappointed were you? Do you think at 2-0 down we should have gone for it, or do you think we were right just to sit there and let Man City just dominate?
But it was one of those ones like two deflected goals. You can't do anything about it. But I think it's a blessing in disguise for us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Less games for us now in this. So it's like,
well, it's 2 less games now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, but I've been seeing this thing about the FA Cup and that. Have you seen the chaos it's going to cause? Have you heard what might happen?
No, I haven't. No, Lewis, no.
I explain it before I go because I know it'll be time for somebody else to come on soon. If let's say for some strange miracle, Coventry get to the final of the FA Cup,
Yeah.
the next day is actually the Championship playoff if they get to the final.
Oh
But
gosh, yeah.
but they have done a thing. There is a bit of a gap. If Coventry get to the final and get to the playoff final, the Championship playoff be a week later.
Yeah.
And then 48 hours later, it's the Champions League final.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. It's just crazy, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, the pitch is going to be absolutely knackered for the Champions League final.
Oh, I bet it won't, Lewis. I bet it'll be pristine.
It's because it's Wembley, yeah. But you know what I mean.
But the thing is, though, Lewis, I mean, look, I wouldn't bet against Coventry beating Man U and getting to the. You know the way they're playing, and Mark Robbins coming up against his old club as well. So,
but I think if they but hang on, that means if let's say Coventry get to the final, let's say it was Man City Coventry final. If Man City win, will Coventry get the? Who will get that? Will like Coventry get the place for Europe then?
if Coventry got to the final,
And Man City win,
they'd get a European place probably, because
that
didn't that happen to Millwall when they played Chelsea? Millwall got into Europe.
Yeah, because it was one of those weird, and they won the championship. They won the Europa in the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't get very far though, did they? So.
No. But I'll let somebody else come on. I'll say you. But I just want to say it's stuff because it's just a bit of a pain in the backside with us at the minute.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming on, Lewis. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Do you think, before you go, I mean, look, the women have got a final on Saturday against #United at Kenilworth Road.
1 second. Look, you see, like me other shirt what I got here, and I'm just getting it out. It's where's my badge? I got me. It's the # shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I think Newcastle will win.
You think we'll win that on Saturday? Yeah.
No, it's Sunday. The final's Sunday.
Saturday.
Is it? Oh, and I'm always going a bit. I thought it was Sunday.
Yeah, the 23rd Saturday.
And also on Saturday, England are playing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, 7 p.m. Do you think Anthony Gordon will make his debut on Saturday?
Against Bruno. That'd be funny. But I don't think he will start, unfortunately.
I think Gordon may come on as a sub, like Bruno might do as well.
Mm-hmm. Come on together, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be. I'm just, no, it's Saturday the final. I'm sure it is.
All right, I thought it was Sunday.
No, I think it's definitely Saturday. Yeah, because we play #United. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right then. My mistake. I wish it was a Sunday. That's why.
And you think we'll win that? Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Lovely, Lewis. Thanks for coming on, mate.
No problem, Tony. I'll see you later.
Cheers, mate. See you later. How are the lads? See you later, Lewis.
See ya.
So that was Lewis on. So, guys, girls, if you're in the chat and you want to come on, get yourselves on. Click the link. It's at the top. And get yourselves on to the Fanzone. I'll go through some comments. Davey Porter says it would be good if something coming from the club about this. I'm sure it's Eddie getting them to sign players off to play. Surely the medical staff aren't that daft. Well, you wouldn't think so. The medical staff should be the ones in control, really. Tristan says, so here we go again. it's the medical staff, when in reality it's Eddie Howe breaking players like he did at Bournemouth. I mean, look, we've seen this happen. We've seen reports of it. You know, is Eddie training these players too hard? That's the question, you know. But we'll wait and see. Ronald says, some sources still saying we have to sell a prize asset, but nobody knows. The thing is, Ronald, nobody knows what our budget is in the summer. Nobody knows, and they never will know. That's the thing. So nobody knows. David says, what about when Bruce said he couldn't believe the turnaround in Joe Linton? What a joke of a man. I mean, yeah, the guy's a joke. You know, the guy needs to just give up and walk away. We're sick of hearing him, you know. But every time he comes on, he's always on about something negative about Newcastle United, you know. And, you know, just go away. Go away. We don't want to hear you no more, you know. And yet he's trying to claim he is the victim of the ownership. Go away. You're not the victim of the ownership. You're a shit manager with shit tactics, shit training methods. Just retire. Enjoy the money that you've getting from every single club because you refuse to resign, because you wait to get sacked so you can get the payoff and get the Wonga in your hands. Well, do you know what? Do one. Retire. Nobody's interested, Steve. David Veach says, I was expecting an approach from Man U for Bruno and J7, Cashworth and Ratcliffe or Rats. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Talking about Joe Linton, apparently wants to close in his contract. That's why it's stalled at the moment. Ron says a few seasons ago, I think under Bruce, we had an injury crisis and people were questioning our training ground service. We can't say that now, though. No, absolutely. Just thumbs up, great stream. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you're in the chat, we got 36 watching. If you haven't yet, smash that like. Please do smash that like. It really does help the channel. Let's see if we can hit over 50 likes before the end of the show. Gary says, what price Nolly picks up an ACL one game into his return? Oh, Gary, don't even say that in fun, mate. Jeez, honestly, yeah. Thank you very much, Sefton. Get Eddie out and start again. We lose the good players. No doubt there will be no European football. So where's the improvement, says Davey Porter. I mean, look. Obviously, I reckon all the owners have probably met up in Dubai, maybe. Because Dubai is not far from Saudi. It's probably a short flight. Or maybe Amanda and Jamie have gone into Saudi to go and see Yasser. Howe looks under pressure on the touchline. Let's be honest, he looks lost on that touchline. And I'm not saying this is like saying Eddie Howe's getting sacked. All I'm saying is, when you see the camera pan on him, he looks a man who's got a weight on his shoulders, a huge weight on his shoulders. I just wonder if Eddie Howe knows that if he doesn't get European football this season, I wonder if he knows he's walking at the end of the season. Maybe he's been told this. You know? We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. And that's not me saying that's happening. I'm just saying, just when you look at him, he just looks lost on that touchline. He looks just under pressure, like there's a huge weight there, isn't there? BS is at the start of the season, we talked about 2-11s from the Salah Cup games. We can't scrape one together now. We can't. No, absolutely. Alan says, evening guys, I still think Howe's future is still in his own hands. Get top 7, 8. Any Euro football, I think Pip will give him another season. Yeah, I think Piff might, yeah. But I think we've got to get European football. Ian says, they said on Radio Newcastle that it was not NUFC medical team. He's seen a few specialists and some said get an operation, others said rest would cure it. It was Botman's decision to rest up. Interesting, Ian. Thank you very much for that, mate. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and become a member. It's 99p bargain. Cheers, Sefton. Thank you very much indeed. The only people who link us to English players are on social media. They talk crap because they got enough better to say. Absolutely, Gary. Wait until they're announced. I'm not worried about Coventry being in the Champions League final. Don't forget it's my birthday. Yeah, we know that, Sefton. Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow, if you've just joined the chat, Sefton is the big 6-0 tomorrow. It's a 60th birthday for Sefton Mag in the chat. And a little bit closer to getting your free bus pass, mate. I'm only joking. Bruno's going if we don't get Europe, says Tiger. Gary says, of course not, he loves a chat and he stated his intention to stay. Yes, he has. But I think he has sort of said if he doesn't get it, I think he's sort of hinging that on a European play, so that's the problem. David says, top bloke, Tony, you've made Lewis as a cracking bloke. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, Lewis is a good lad, he is. He's a nice lad, Lewis. David says, we just need Big Joe to sign his contract as well. Shelley's worth as much as Target. Oh, do you know what? Yeah. I mean, look, Matt Target's on 100 grand a week. He had a good loan spell, Target, but when he's signed permanently, he hasn't been that great, has he? Lewis in the chat now, I forgot to mention, who played for Blackburn. He has 2 injuries, ACL twice on the same leg. Wow. If Bruno and J7 are going, why do you think he hasn't signed the contract? Perhaps Bruno's looking to leave. Maybe, we don't know. Top comment, David Lewis is brilliant. Thank you very much, Sefton. Guys, anybody in the chat, if you want to come on, the link's there. Come in and we'll get you straight on. Coffee says, Tony, what do you think about the new England home away kit? I like the home kit. I'm not too sure about the away kit yet, but there again, I've got to have a proper look. I haven't really had a good look at it. I might have a little look around in sport shops, see if it's in any of the sport shops at the moment. Obviously, I won't be going in one certain sports shop, that's for sure. But, I will look in other ones. I might have a good look online and have a look at it properly. But looking at it first glance, it's a bit different, isn't it? But I like the home shirt. That's nice. But I think it's 85 quid, and I wouldn't pay 85 quid for an England shirt. No chance. Coffee says, if Southgate goes to Man United, the England job could be up for grabs. It could be Howe's job, couldn't it? Who knows? If Howe becomes England manager, we could finally see Longstaff and Byrne in the England squad. No Miggy Almiron, though. Well, yeah, definitely no Miggy Almiron, that's for sure, Coffee. But yeah, I like your thought on that. Peter McCardle, good evening, mate. He says, would you really trust Eddie spending money in the summer? Again, it depends. Depends who we get in for director of football as well. If we've got a decent DOF in, who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that one in the summer. Ron says, before the City game, the camera was on more team and Eddie was very stern-faced. Tyndall was the only one who smelled, not even the players. This is what I'm saying. When you see the cameras on Eddie, there's times you look at him and he's like, it looks like he's got a weight on him. And I think something is going on behind the scenes. I really do. Right, anyway, so I've got somebody else in the green room and now I'm going to bring him on. And people might have saw him last night. They might have saw me on his channel on Monday night. It is my guy. It is Mr. John Sinclair. Hi, John. How are you?
Big up to Tony. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hi to you guys. How are you doing? You good?
Yeah, absolutely. And John, we've got a big birthday tomorrow, you know.
I believe
Sefton Mag is 60.
Big up Sefton. Happy 60th birthday, Sefton, mate. And let's hope you get spoiled tomorrow. Hope your wifey spoils you. And hopefully you get something massive. Have a good one, man. And you deserve those big day.
Absolutely, John. And he's getting closer to his free bus pass.
He is indeed. He's still young, man.
He is 60, yeah, exactly. 60 years young. I mean, John, what What do you make of the Botman injury now? It's come out 6 to 9 months out. It's disgusting, isn't it?
Oh, you know what it is, Tony, right? I mean, even to you again, by the way, and even to the guys in the chat as well. Big up to Ronald, Newcastle Fans TV, I think. Just love to find out about that one. But on Sven Botman, right? I mean, look, he should not have been playing. I believe, according to Keith Downing, he had an injury since October. If remember serves us right. If that's the case, why is he carrying on playing? I mean, he said, constantly said that, he told about the coach staff, he said that, okay, cool, I'm going to keep playing because I will help the team out. Yeah, Tony, surely that should have been taken out of his hands. He should not be playing with any kind of injury. The same with Sean Longstaff, Jacob Murphy, Joe Linton. It shouldn't happen. Do you know what I mean? But our medical staff, we said this the other day, our medical staff, Tony, is just getting absolutely disgusting. It really is, yeah. Who employed, was it Eddie's team? Did Eddie employ these medicals? Or did the club? Because whoever it is...
I can read the list here, John, of who the medical staff are.
Yes, please.
And that way, that will give you an idea of who the medical team is. Right. So this is the medical team. The head doctor, the club's head doctor, is Paul Catterson, who's had his own clinic for 15 years. The senior physio is Nathan Ring, Brighton, in England. Physio, Daniel Marty, formerly of West Ham, Tottenham and Madrid. Another physio, Andres Kasper, Chelsea and Fulham. Head of rehab, Sean Beach, has been here for 14 years. So that is the medical team.
I'll be honest with you, Tony. I'm not going to lie. I never heard of those names. Yeah? But whoever they are, they need to be questioned. They need to have an investigation and find out what the heck is going on. Because, Tony, this is going on for way too long. Yeah? Way too long. And I'll tell you something now, right? I mean, come the end of the season, they need to have an investigation, a fully skilled education. Because I tell you now, this cannot go on again next season, Tony, because I'll tell you what now, right? This is getting beyond the joke, these injury records. And there's someone on the chat and on Exceeding, I'm not going to mention the person's name, right? But she decided to go off Twitter because people were having to go to medical staff. And no one haven't got a clue what's going on behind the scenes. But you know what it is? We all know what's going on, Tony. We know what's going on. Why the heck? You have to ask the question now. Why Sven Botman was allowed to carry on playing? That should be taken out of his hands. If you're injured, he just can't do it. He just can't do it, though, Tony. You cannot do it, man. You cannot take risk. If you come off an injury, it's going to make it worse. Now, the lad's out for between 6 and 9 months. Yeah. We could have done with him fitter. Now, we got to go into summer, and our transfer business is going to be thrown out the window again. We need a centre-back with pace. I'll just repeat that again. We need a centre-back with pace. And that is what we need. And I'll tell you what, you have to ask the question again, will Sven Botman be the same player when he comes back from injury? That's another question.
Yeah, that's the thing, John. We don't know. I mean, look, Livermento had one. He's back and he's fine. Callum Wilson's had two. You know, Callum Wilson's had two. And we've seen what's happened to Callum Wilson, haven't we? You know? I mean, Brian hits the nail on the head there. He says, absolutely fuming. I couldn't give a monkey's chuff if Botman wanted to recover and get back. The medical team should have told him, no, you get the surgery. Absolutely, Brian.
Absolute facts, Brian. Facts. And the thing is, right, I mean, I think Eddie's trying to please people. He's trying to keep people happy, right? And you know what? I love Eddie, you know that, yeah? We told you the other day, he needs to be ruthless. I don't think he's being that ruthless. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if, I mean, let's be real, right? Our squad now is getting smaller and smaller by the day. Big up to you, David. Big up to the chat, man. And you know what it is? I'm absolutely, Tony, it's got to be a full-scale investigation. You got to find the root of it from top to bottom. What's going on in this football club with injuries? Yeah. We have got the worst injury record. I mean, Callum Wilson's another one as well, by the way. And I think he needs to be moved on in summer because of
Yeah.
that. We're not going to hang a boot like, you know what I mean? We don't get in Europe this season. We need to have a squad capable of getting in the top 4 next year. Do you know what I mean? There'll be no excuses, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, Keith
Anyway,
Down made a good point, by the way. All right. Look at his tweet. He is absolutely right. It was a bad.
He is. Well, I'm going to bring somebody else in from the green room as well. Before I do that, let's quickly do this. If you haven't yet liked what you see, then follow Sean the Sheep and give it a big thumbs up. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Just follow his lead. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, smash that subscribe and join this great community and hit the bell notification of any future shows as well. Right, okay, let's bring this guy in. This guy's from the other side of the world. Yes, absolutely he is. And it's one and only, it's Chris. Hi, Chris. How are you, mate?
What's going on? What's going on, fellas?
Big
Nice
up,
to
Chris.
see you, John. Nice to see Tony.
You too, Chris. You got to come on my show one day, Chris, man.
Of course. I got to put my cowboy hat. You know how that works.
Yes, baby. Yeah, baby.
What's your thoughts on Sven Botman, Chris, on this injury? I mean, it's couldn't get any worse, could it?
Well, it's very, very demoralizing the way injuries have hit us this season. It just makes no sense. I mean, there's just no explanation to it. No, I mean, you can have one or two. This type of things can happen, but when you have every week somebody gets down, every week there's an injury, every week there's something. Every week, I don't even know if there's been a week where we haven't talked about injuries. Somebody's always in doubt. We talked about Gordon before, and it just I just don't know. I think that the club, the owners, need to do an audit. Do something to investigate what's going on in the club, in the medical staff, in the medical team, and the physio team, whatever you want to say. It needs to be investigated. And of course, I think the big part of the reason as to why we have injuries is because of the way we play, and we have no other way of playing. So you add that to the mix, then of course you have all these injuries. But I'll tell you this, man, I have never seen any football club with this predicament. I mean, never. In my short years watching football, I've been watching football since I was 15, and I'm a younger lad. So but you guys tell me. I mean, yeah, I've never seen anything like this in my life, man. It's unprecedented.
I've never seen nothing like this, Chris. To be honest, I've said this before. I mean, look, I've seen injury lists in our club, but nothing to this on this scale. And I've supported this club for like 42 years now. And like, I've never seen nothing at all on this scale. It's just, yeah. I was late in the football, a 10-year-old, but like, obviously, but yeah, I mean, look, I went to my first game, 1982, when I was 10, seen Keegan's debut, seen him leaving a helicopter. Look, I mean, but in all the years, I've not seen an injury list like this, or I can't remember one like this. There may well have been one, but I certainly don't remember it, that's for sure. What about you, John? Do you?
I supported Newcastle all my life, and Tony, this is the worst I have ever seen this happen. I've never seen anything like this in my life. It was injury records and this, and injury this, injuries that. For me, I'm going to be honest with you, right? I mean, if Chris didn't watch it, my point, there need to be an investigation on this. This has got to be first choice, because I'll tell you what, there is something seriously wrong at this football club. Something seriously wrong, and it needs to be addressed very, very quickly. Otherwise, this is just going to carry on. Our injury record, Tony, Chris, and everyone in the chat knows that it's absolutely shocking. It really is, man. But we got to go with it now. We got to go with it. We got to go with what we've got. But I've heard people saying that Paul Dummett could be getting a 1-year contract as well. Please don't. Please.
Apparently, that's just it. That was just a wind up from Mouth of the Tyne. You just done it to see So yeah, don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled by that.
Big up the barber in the room, by the way. Big up the barber. I saw a barber in the airport in the Cellar Cup and did an interview with barber. Saw a first time face to face. Very pleasant.
Yep. Thanks for the comment.
Coffee makes the point there. He says, Mafinho, Jacob Murphy, dislocated his shoulder and 2 weeks later came on against Arsenal and popped it again. I mean,
No,
he did. He came back.
It wasn't,
but
two, weeks later. I think it was
No.
the match after. It was a Champions League match against Dortmund. He dislocates his shoulder. And then the weekend match for the Premier League comes in. And, I believe that's the way it went. And to be honest with you, everybody questioned. I said it myself. Why don't you let their joint solidify itself and what's the rush? He comes on, popped it again. He doesn't even take a bump. It's just literally shoulder to shoulder, nothing, and he just immediately has to come out. I think that's a big negligence.
That's why I don't want Pope rushed back in a way. I'd rather Pope took his time to come back. We can do with Dubravka till the end of the season. So, if you wanted to do without Pope, we can do without Pope till the end of the season, if I'm honest. We've got Dubravka there. We've got Karius there. Then there's further down the pecking order. You've got Gillespie and young Harris. So we're okay for goalkeepers till the end of the season. Obviously, Dubravka's just playing well at the moment. Maybe one that could be he's got an eye on an exit in the summer, and maybe he's just playing for a move somewhere else. Also, he'd be playing for his spot in the Slovakian squad, even though Rodak really isn't a threat to him, and he's the number 2 keeper at Fulham as well, Rodak. And Dubravka could have a crack in Euros, and that may even facilitate a move for him in the summer, because he'll probably know that he's not going to be first choice next season at Newcastle when Pope's back.
For me, is you think like the old man. I don't think like that. Hell no. I think Pope in this. Well, I mean, I guess you could say it's been a while since he's played, so I guess you can consider the form. But I believe that. Well, the same thing with Trippier. He's hurt. Do we really think that Livramento is going to take over his job? I don't believe that. I think that Trippier comes on and he's going to be a starter. But old people like Derek believe that, that whoever gets hurt loses their job, and I don't believe that. I mean, I don't. I think Pope is the number 1 goalkeeper at this point in Newcastle. Which, by the way, I mean, we talk about it because we have to talk about it, but we don't really have a goalkeeper that's blowing our minds up. You know what I mean? With a critical eye. Now, I think Pope is a great goalkeeper, a good goalkeeper, but he's not really fighting for the English job or, for the English national team. He's not really, you know what I mean? I feel like a big club like Newcastle eventually should. But again, we get to the point. It's a goalkeeper is the least of our concerns. We need to get players everywhere else before we even think about that. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Paul says there in the chat, he says we need a goalkeeper, 2 centre-backs, a centre midfielder, a right winger, and 2 strikers. What do you think about that, John?
Thing is, though, I mean, you got an FFP as well, by the way. So, I mean, unless you sell Bruno G, I hope it doesn't happen. Then I think that's what we're going to need. Paul, we need them, mate. And I'll tell you what, right, we need to improve the team because some of the players we've got already aren't good enough. We're going to lose about 6 or 7 players in the summer on a free transfer. And that's the bottom line. But for me, I would just say we need to improve big time because we can't go to a new season with an adequate squad because we haven't got a big squad. Let's be real. But the ones that aren't good enough, get them out, ship them out very quickly. And just that's what you're going to need to do. If we are going to fight for the top 4 next season, we need a bigger squad. And I heard people saying that we may have to sell Bruno Guimaraes. We don't have to sell Bruno Guimaraes. It's the dead wood, Tony, Chris. We got to get rid of. We need to ship them out, overstay their time. I said this so many times, right? Get them out and bring in new faces at the club. We're about the new players coming in.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I totally agree. we've got to do some upgrades in places. You know,
Facts.
Matt Target, 100 grand a week, get him off the wage bill. You know, that's going to free up some space and give us some wriggle room. Although his transfer market value is dropped now. It's now dropped to about £8.5 million that you'll get from Matt Target, because he hasn't played a lot. So obviously his value is decreased. So, but we know Fulham were interested in him. So maybe Fulham might come in the summer and say, look, we'll take Matt Target. You know, they might say, we'll give you 8 million or something. You snap their hands off and say, yes, please take him. Take the £100,000 a week off our wage bill, you know. There's rumours about why J7 hasn't signed his deal yet, because he wants a clause added in their release clause, you know.
You know my
And
feelings
that's
about
fair
it, Tony.
enough.
You know my feelings about release clause there, guys. You know my feelings about that. You either sign the contract, and if you ask for a release clause, just say, yo, you're on a release clause? I'll be like Lee Gunner now. You're on a release clause, you're out. But Bruno is difficult.
Well, I mean, you know, it all depends on what really, you know, they want. I mean, if Joe Linton says, you know, I want a clause saying that if Manchester United come and get me, that I'll be able to leave for half a fee, then I think that's BS. I think that I would never do that. But you know, I guess there's managers have really clauses that some have like a national team clause. They would like to, you know, manage a World Cup or something like that. And you know, you see a lot in managers, not much in players. But I mean, I do agree to a certain extent with what you said, John, about getting rid of certain players that are not being, you know, they're not being played. You know, at the end of the day, we want a longer squad, and to a certain extent, we do have bodies. Maybe not the greatest players, but we got players right now, and they're not being played, and that is a criticism on my behalf to the manager. I mean, you didn't want to sell Dummett for 500K in this past mid window that we had, the winter window, but yet you don't play him, so you know it makes no sense to me. So yeah,
Facts, man. Facts.
I would have sold. Do you know what? I would have quite happily sold Dummett in the January window for £500,000. And I know there's people out there that there was people out there saying, "Oh, we can't afford to lose him because he's good around the what? Why can't we afford to lose him? £500,000. That, you know, he's going to go for free in the summer. So technically, would I had £500,000? Yes, it wouldn't do a lot for FFP, but it would just give a little bit more. But you know, I just don't understand it, because Ipswich wanted him. Leeds wanted him, you know, and then Leeds dropped out the race, and it was only Ipswich. But we turned around and said no. And I just couldn't get my head around that one, because I thought, well, we've got enough cover. It's centre back and left back to cope and letting Dummett go, you know. Emil Kraft can play centre back. We've seen it. So, you know, it's not like, you know, we're going to be. I bet Paul Dummett doesn't play between now and the end of the season. And then you'll think, well, you could have sold him, you know.
You know what it is?
So
you know what it is?
I don't get it.
I know what it is, right? You just said there, Tony, right? If I'm right, you're saying he's good around the place. No, I don't want to be signed because he's good around the place. They're signed because they should be on the football pitch, yeah? And they're not being good enough. I mean, the fact is, right, Paul's been a fantastic servant in Newcastle. The bottom line is, he needs to win. So, Dummett, goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Byrne, goodbye. Longstaff, goodbye. Miggy, goodbye. Jacob, if he wants to move on, I wish him all the best as well. Wilson, goodbye. Henrik, goodbye. Yeah? People said about Lascelles, sign a contract to get some money. I think it'll stay. But that's 7-8 players right away. The trouble is, they're on big money. And it's hard to shift off the wage bill, man. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. They don't want to think, yo, I don't want to go to another club. I'll be here. I'll just sit on the bench. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? But this is where Eddie Howe has got to be ruthless on these players. Ruthless. And if he's not ruthless, as much as I love Eddie, the owners are going to be ruthless on him. And if he's not going to be ruthless, I think you're going to find someone else who's going to be ruthless. Do you know what I mean? We need someone that's going to be ruthless. Someone is going to say, right, you know what? I'm going to run the roost here. If you're not good enough, you're not playing. But I'm happy to give Eddie another season. because
Yeah, I
you know,
mean,
looking at injuries, I want this guy to succeed. I want this guy to
Mhm.
succeed at this football club. I'm Eddie in. I do not want him sacked, but I'll leave that to the owners to decide. But I've heard people as well saying that I listened to Talk Sport tonight. Eddie Howe is under severe pressure as well. He's on. It's the media. It's the Southern media are saying Eddie's under pressure. I don't think he is. I really don't. A man has come out and said that Eddie's staying next season. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, it's all right. Amanda's saying that though, but at the end of the day, if PIF say we don't want him next season, Amanda can't do nothing about it because she only owns 6% of the club now. So you know, PIF are the majority shareholder, so they've got more say than anybody in the club. And we know the Saudis are ruthless, and they don't settle for second best. And you know, they probably thought we're getting in the Champions League this season. You know, they're probably thinking, right, okay, we can battle for Europe again this season, even if it's not the top four. We can battle for the top seven. I've said this in the past. I'll settle all day for the Europa Conference League because that is something we can win. West Ham won it last season. Villa could go and win it this season. You know, some people call it a Mickey Mouse Cup, but at the end of the day, it's not a Mickey Mouse Cup. It's a major European trophy, and West Ham have that in their cabinet. If you go and ask West Ham fans and the West Ham players, is that a Mickey Mouse trophy? They'd say no, it's a major European trophy, and we've won it. You know, so it's something that's winnable. Like we could have probably have. I mean, I'm not saying win it, but we could have gone far and say the Europa League if we drew against Milan. But we went gung-ho to try and win that game and ended up losing it. Now, to me, the way I look at it is just don't lose a game. You know, if you can't win the game, don't lose it. Simple. But we went out to try and win that game against Milan to get the next round of the Champions League. And I would have quite happily settled for the draw to drop in the Europa League. You know, but there again, in some ways, I'm glad we're not in the Europa League because look at the injuries we've got. We didn't have Isak back at the time, so we had no striker. So technically, we would have been playing with Anthony Gordon up front. So technically, in some ways, yes, I am pleased we didn't go through the Europa League. But then in some ways, I am a bit gutted because we should have held on against Milan and gone through. But, you know, these things happen. Now, one thing I have suggested before, John, and I'll ask you your opinions on this. There's a striker up for free in the summer. Now, he is 37 years of age, John, but the difference is he stays fit and he could do a job for us. And he played against us at St James's Park. He's out of contract in the summer. Olivier Giroud.
I think he'll do a good job. I mean, I think he looks after himself well. I think he's really good. I mean, he's proved in Milan as well. He's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's still got it. The question is, does he really want to come back to the Premier League through the ridges again at that age? I'm not so sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he signed Milan for another year. I think he's loved there. I think he'll be there for another year. He's another good season by the big man. Yeah, I think he'll stay in Milan. I can't see him come back in the Premier League.
Right.
You can't see him come back. What about you, Chris? Would you have Giroud?
I can't. I have him, but I can't see him coming in.
Yeah.
Well, my opinion on that is that, I mean, I think we talked about it too. Like after the shows, on my channel privately, and I mean, I like him. I think he's a proper striker. But I mean, I'd rather have Lewandowski. He's looking to leave Barcelona. He's throughout his career, he's been more prolific and more at the top of his game in European football than Giroud. I think they're both good strikers, but I would take Lewandowski. And but I mean, Giroud has the advantage that he's played in the Premier League, so he knows what to do there. But and Coffee is saying his wages are too high. But I mean, but maybe so. Maybe so. We are the richest club in the world. However, we can't spend money. Meaning, listen, we can conquer everything if we sit down and talk. So that's my opinion on
Yeah.
everything. So why not? But so it's neither here nor there. I know. I believe that we need a striker, a solid striker to be a backup. Whether Giroud or Lewandowski would want to be a backup, they're at the end of their career. So I hope that they will realize that this Newcastle project is a good project. But it's nothing
Mhm.
but just us talking. To be honest, I mean, haven't heard anything. So
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll run through his stats, Olivier Giroud, this season. I mean, look, anchor play, position, and aerial duels were Norsley's strengths. But he started 22 out of 26 times in Serie A. He's got 12 goals, which is a 1-2 ratio, and 8 assists. I mean, that's amazing for a striker to have 8 assists. And look, I don't think he's a bad player at all, and he's good for holding the ball up.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he'd be free, so you wouldn't have to pay out a transfer fee on him. Yes, he'd probably want his wages, but there again, you could negotiate something with him. And I think he could play back up to Isak. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm all for that. Or like Chris said, Lewandowski's another one as well. But the thing is, or if these players do leave, they might even end up going to Saudi or somewhere like that, or or Beckham might try and get them to MLS like he did with Lionel Messi.
yeah, I mean,
Could be.
very much could be. But I mean, we are closer to Saudi Arabia by by relationship. We could have certain amount of money to pay him, or figure it out, as well as we're in the Premier League, so he essentially stays. He doesn't have to go to the Middle East if he doesn't, if it's too far away from family or whatever. He stays closer to home, closer to Poland. And I mean, it just at the end of the day, it's about sitting down and talking. So, but we definitely need to bring people, though. That is a must. Need to bring new players, man.
Barbara's asking Chris, what time's your show? Is it 10 or 11 tonight?
Usually 10 p.m. every day, but tonight is on Wednesdays is usually at 11, because old man's got the quiz, and he I don't know why he goes, because he loses money every time. But but tonight usually have the Talk of the Tune or American Mags, but tonight we'll have the undisputed Newcastle United undisputed show with the old man, talking about whatever's going on. I'm sure we're going to touch a few things that we talked about here. So 11 p.m. tonight, usually 10 p.m. every day. Thank you for that.
There you go, Barbara. There you go, Barbara.
There you go.
Sefton says the three amigos.
God knows you don't want to use that. You don't want to use that name, because certain people might get mad. They might block you.
Yeah.
Talking
about Sefton. Talking about Sefton, Chris. He's 60 years of age tomorrow. It's his birthday tomorrow.
Who?
Wow.
Sefton Mag. Yeah.
60. Man, that's your picture. You don't look 60. You look about 35, brother.
He doesn't, does he? I'm not going to lie. He doesn't look it.
Look 35, man. Tony looks 87.
Oh, cheers. Thanks, Chris.
Nah, I'm playing. No. But happy birthday, man. Happy birthday, Sefton Mag. Appreciate it. Well, Sefton, what? Would that be a place somewhere in England, or what?
Yeah, it's in Liverpool. Sefton is, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So,
his real name's Russ, but yeah. Because
there we go.
Is that the? It's in Merseyside, you see.
Is he on the fans forum? On the
yes,
the
he
WhatsApp?
is.
Okay, well, happy birthday, man. We gotta make sure to say happy birthday on the WhatsApp group.
Yes, get everybody to wish him happy 60th birthday for tomorrow. Peter McCardle says Mamadashvili from Valencia, that guy there on screen. Yep, we are continually linked with this guy. A great keeper. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. He's good for running out. He's a good shot stopper like Pope as well. He's a Georgian keeper, but he's 23 years of age, so that's even better, younger. So I think, but there's a lot of clubs looking at this guy as well. So, it's going to be a tough one, a tough gig to try and get him over. And and it depends how much his release clause is as well, which I believe I've heard is around about 60 million, but I could be wrong on that one. But he is a cracking goalkeeper. But again, as we've all said, is a goalkeeper really the highest priority? I don't really think so at the moment, unless, well, we know Karius wants to leave, and Roma have showed interest in Karius apparently. Look, he could actually sign a pre-contract agreement now because he's got less than 6 months on his deal. It'd be sad to see him go, but obviously he'll go. Probably Gillespie will go. And if Dubravka's going to be told he's number 2 next season, I can't see Dubravka staying. I think he'll be gone. Because he's 35 now and he probably wants to have one last crack at playing first team football. So he could go to a team that's in European competition, say. Or I wouldn't be surprised if Dubravka went back to his homeland and seen out his career. But I think he'd go to some sort of European team in one of the top leagues, I would imagine. But yeah, it's one of them. We just have to wait and see what happens at the end of the season. But I don't think goalkeeper's top priority, is it, Chris?
Sorry. No. I mean, if we have to choose, I mean, we don't have much, leadway to spend money. We have to focus on the more important positions. And we can say striker, winger, or maybe a DM. But I don't think that Eddie likes to play with a DM, so could be useless. But because in the midfield, I mean, on the healthy midfield, Joe Linton, Guimaraes, and Tonali are going to play. So, do you fit any? You can't fit anybody else in there, because we know that Eddie plays 4-3-3. So
Yeah,
he never changes that. He changed it one game, last one, and it didn't go that well. So I think it might be a winger or a striker, and goalkeeper. I mean, to be honest, like I said, when Pope went out and Dubravka had to come on, and also when we played against Arsenal in the cup game against Blackburn, if you want to get a top goalkeeper, I'm all for it. But I mean, I just think that Pope and Dubravka and Karius did a good job. I mean,
yeah.
So nothing to complain there. I mean, we got bigger fish to fry, like I said.
Brian's put an interesting point there. He says, bollocks to the FFP. Should we just take a 4-point deduction? I mean, look, Forest got a 4-point deduction because they cooperated. Now, they wouldn't have had this points deduction had Brennan Johnson been sold 3 weeks earlier. They would have actually been fine. But they reckon Everton's going to be hit with another 6-point deduction. But it's just come out on TalkSport earlier that Chelsea are going to be hit with a points deduction worse than what Everton got first time around. Thoughts on that, John?
Well, they spend $1 billion, haven't they? They've spent $1 billion, and I tell you what, until they sell players like Conor Gallagher and who was it, Borja as well, and maybe Chalobah, by the end of June, they're going to be in big trouble. They're going to be in massive trouble. And we could be, Paul said, 12 points. And I tell you what, the Premier League now are clamping down on this PSR thing. They're clamping down hard. For me, this should be scrapped. Really should be scrapped. I'm sorry, but this is not going to go away. But I can see Chelsea being in massive trouble. So is Man United as well. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. I don't know, like relegation. I've heard relegation against Man City and all this. I have a Man City fan, really close friend, really good podcaster. And he told me he's American and is a proper cocky American. He said, let them relegate us. I could care less. We'll be back, and I'm sure we'll have the promotion already secured with 20 games left in the championship. And I think that some Man City fans are flying in the clouds, and I mean they've won everything. So I don't think we can blame them, but some don't really care. They don't even see it as a punishment, And I think the biggest thing for City was that they haven't admitted to anything. It's like proven innocent until guilty, which is the way it should be, to be honest. They haven't been proven guilty of anything, but you see Forest get points taken away. I know they quote unquote collaborated, so they got less points taken away. Everton deducted 10 points, and they've done it with those clubs. It'll be interesting to see if they do it with Chelsea, if they do it with Man City. You know, will they do it? Will they really punish and relegate? You know, these big clubs that bring a lot of money to the FA year after year, Premier League. You know, so it will be interesting to see. I mean, most people say it would never happen. They're not going to get relegated, but you know, at the end of the day, I mean, but also it's good to clarify that every case is different. Every case is different. You know what I mean? It's you know, but it's all about finances and PSR and FFP and all that jazz.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Will they relegate these teams? And you know, you go back to like if you know, I think it was about 7, 8 years ago. Ian's in the chat. Ian Fleming, he probably would be right. Or John might even as well. But I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. But Rangers, they had some financial irregularities, and they were demoted all the way down to the bottom league, and they had to start their way back up from the bottom league. I mean, yes, they kept their first team squad, and they won the league by a country mile. You know, they're League Two in Scotland. Because they were hammering these teams every single week. But they had to start back from the bottom to work their way back to the Premiership and in Scotland. So, but whether our Premier League will do anything, I'm not so sure. You know, Richard Masters, to me, he's a bit sly, a bit dodgy. I call him Tricky Dicky. And I think there's something about him that's, you know, that, I mean, he didn't want our takeover going through, but eventually he couldn't do nothing about it, and they had to let it through because they realised there was no, you know, he was trying to look for the separation. And the thing is, also the Premier League know that obviously we've heard this from Keith Patterson himself. He's got that much evidence that if it came out, the Big Six cartel and like your Richard Masters and that, they'd be getting a knock on that door the next morning from the boys in blue saying, come on, into the car, we're going to cart you off to the police station now. And so they know that, you know, they know they've got to be careful what they're doing. I mean, look, this FFP, everybody says it's run by the six, for the six. And you know what? They're absolutely right. I think FFP, if I'm honest, does more harm than good because, as I said yesterday, you've got these small teams that come up from the Championship, like say Luton Towns and that. Now, Forest had to spend last season because when they came up from the Championship, they had players out of contract who went back to, like, Brice Samba went back to France to go and play for Rennes, for Lens, sorry. And, you know, they had a lot of loan players that went back to their clubs. So they had to start literally from scratch and had to buy a new squad. So that's why they overspent in some ways, Forest. And you can't blame them for that. But I think sometimes this does more harm than it does good. And, you know, and as I've said before, but Darren Bent, an ex-striker, Chris, he said what they should do. He says what the Premier League should do is they should take a percentage off the owners. So basically what you do is, so say for us, for instance, they could say to us, right, we want £1 billion deposit. So our owners say, right, there's £1 billion deposit. Now, if for some reason our owners, I'm not saying they would go into financial difficulties because PIF have got that much money, there's no way they're going bankrupt. But if there was a thing that they were going into financial difficulty, and rather than the club going into administration, but they had it up for sale, then what the Premier League would do is say, we've got this £1 billion deposit. They'll put that back into the club. So that'll pay for the players' wages and the operating costs until a new buyer is found. And I thought, you know what? That's a really good idea because that's better than having FFP then. Because there's no way any clubs are going to go bust because they're going to have this deposit. So, I mean, what's your take on that, Chris?
I mean, that could be a good idea. I mean, last night, Roy was full of ideas, but I'll tell you this, man. I could, you know how the old man says he doesn't give a damn about these YouTube politics. Well, I could
Yeah,
care less about these damn financial, you know, rules and all that stuff. To me, I just feel like clubs should they're owned by people, by different individuals. If they're all of them are rich. If you own a football club, you're rich, obviously,
yeah,
and some are richer than others. And if Newcastle was lucky or whatever, they saw a great investment, PIF, and that they wanted to buy the club, then it's their club, man. They let them do whatever the hell they want. If PIF went and bought, you know, a beach house for their members or whatever you want to do, they are entitled to build and fix and remodel and tear it down and put another one, whatever they want to that house. And so they should be able to do the same thing with their football club. It's theirs. Now, is it fair for other teams that Newcastle would get all this money all of a sudden, and it would be unfair to the rest? Who gives a damn? Who cares? That's how life goes. That's life, mate. That's life. If I have a crappy 1990s car and you and John have a brand new Porsche, I can't go to the government and say, "Hey, man, it's not fair that these guys have brand new cars. Where's my car?" It makes no
Mhm.
sense. This
Facts.
none whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's just that's how life goes. Some people are richer than others. If they can buy players, if they can do now, look at Man City. They bought a lot of players. They had no rules in the beginning. Still took them a few years to win a Premier League. It didn't just happen. The year of the takeover, 2008, I believe it was, and then that's when they became champions. No, they had to spend. They had to still have because it's not just about buying players and putting all this money. You still had to have a good manager. You still has to build a football club, a team, a good squad that has to perform, that has to beat other teams. It's not just an overnight thing. So it really is. It makes no sense, people. And even then, we saw Real Madrid. They had the Galacticos, and there was no takeover there. Big heritage club. They had the Galacticos. They didn't win a single trophy. Well, a major trophy. They didn't win the Liga. They didn't win the Champions League. So you see what I'm saying? All that it's just nonsense, man. Let Newcastle spend, damn it.
yeah,
Fact, man. Because thing is, though, right? I mean, I think the Premier League has done this. They create their own Super League. As far as I'm concerned, it is the Super League to them. They got the Big Six. That's the big Super League. Yeah, the rest of the 14 clubs are just on the wayside. Do you know what I mean? But I get people saying, spend the money, just spend the 200 million, stuff the points. Yeah. The problem is, though, I think you said this the other night, Tony, that they'll come down like a ton of bricks if we spend 200 mil. They'll come down as tough. We get more than 10 points, probably get about 20 points by the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? But for me,
yeah,
I think they need to look into this again, right? Scrap the PSR thing, right? You can't stop clubs and spend the money. Do you know what I mean? It's our club. We should spend what we want, yeah? We're not going to be in debt. We're not going to be in financial difficulties, right? We're the richest. We've got the richest owners in the world. Not the richest club, the richest owners in the world. Please got to understand this, yeah? The bottom line is, right, let us compete. We're not asking for much. Let us compete. Let us get the players that we want, get the players in, and please scrap this ludicrous PSR crap. Because I'll tell you something, they have done this because it's to stop people like us upsetting the Big Six. You know it. Everyone knows it. I know it as well. But let me tell you something now, right? Let us compete. The Premier League is the best league in the world. Really? I doubt it. I doubt it. Fix it up. Otherwise, actually, it's going to be a lawsuit here. Telling our clubs what we do, we cannot do.
yeah.
Saying them up.
I think it's totally wrong. It's anti-competitive. It's like it would be like, say, you've got like supermarkets. So say, for instance, you've got Sainsbury's and Tesco's in the prime area, and say, oh, do you want to go into that prime area as well? Oh, no, you're not allowed in there because you're not one of the big guns. You've got to go out of town and have your supermarket there, you know?
Yeah.
That would be anti-competitive because you're not letting them battle the two bigger supermarkets, you know? So I know it's not the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing, if you know what I mean. It's anti-competitive at the end of the day. And I've always said FFP is anti-competitive. It always has been and always will be.
I agree. And you got two
You've got to change the rules.
Yeah, and basically what Tunomi's saying is as well, I see his comments, what you're going to see in the summer is us, Villa, Forest, sell a big player because we are handcuffed. So the Premier League is telling us and saying we got to sell a top player. Let's put it this way. Last time we looked, Eddie Howe's our manager. Last time we looked, PIF is owner Newcastle United. So it's owner Newcastle, not the Premier League, not Richard Masters. Yeah. At the end of the day, right? Richard Masters is not on the payroll. Yeah. It's our club. We do what we want. Yeah. But I tell you something now. I hope we win the title within 3 or 4 years, and then we see the face of the Premier League. Sorry, Martin, if you're in chat, mate.
Yeah. Martin's a Manchester
big
City fan and creator. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, it's going to rumble on FFP, and you know, Forest have got next Friday to appeal. Now, I'm not being funny. If I was the owner of Nottingham Forest, which I'm not, by the way, but if I was,
I'll leave it alone, man.
And I look at the table and I think, well, I'm 1 point behind Luton Town. Are Luton Town going to win many more games between now and the end of the season? Because look, they were 3-0 up against Bournemouth at half time and got beat 4-3. So you can see their defence ain't that great. You look at them, you think, do you know what? Oh, no, I'm not going to. Because if you go and try and challenge that, plus what they've said is, if they appeal these deductions, which I find rather unfair, but if they appeal it, what happens is there won't be an outcome until a week after the season ends. So what you could have is, you could have Forest being relegated, but then a week later they might say, oh, well, actually, we're only going to deduct you 2 points now. So they get 2 points back, and that 2 points then takes them out the relegation zone, and then that relegates Luton. Is that fair? I don't think that's fair, in all honesty. But I think Forest should just look at it and say, do you know what? You've had 2 points deducted because you've told the truth. Take the punishment, take the slap on the wrist, don't do it again, and just breeze through it and just see where you end up at the end of the season. But then again, you know, Premier League's big money. Forest might want to appeal it. I don't know.
I wouldn't. You did something wrong, and you basically lost the game. You know. So,
yeah.
Let it be, man. You know, Everton 10 points. That's the bigger deal. But you know, because it's gonna keep dragging and you know a lot of bureaucracy over there. So it's just let it be, man. If I was a Forest fan.
Yeah, Martin says the City case is a lot bigger and more complex than people realise.
Yeah, surely so. Nobody knows, but you know, over I believe wasn't it over 100 charges or something like that, which is ridiculous to be honest. But I mean, don't know enough about it, really to give full commentary on that. But regardless, they put themselves in that situation. You're talking about, but I will say too, man, this deal we're talking. Spurs also were in this mess. I don't know what happened to them. They don't talk about them no more. But I mean, I just always have an issue with going back 10 years, a decade over. You know what I mean? Like half of the people don't even work there anymore. It's weird. I think that you should every year you should be able to present what you spent, what you did. I mean, all that it should be done every year. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's more complex than what I think, but 10 years, going back 10 years. I mean, damn, that's a long time. I mean, in football, that's a lot.
Yeah. Sefton says, question for Chris and John. So we'll go John first. Do you think the FA are clueless on this FFP situation?
100%. Really got Richard Masters there. The guy's an absolute pork chop. Excuse me, friend. And he's an absolute pork chop. He really, really is. Yeah. He's absolutely clueless. I don't think he's experienced enough yet. I just think he's weak. He's really weak, and he just won't set the big six, and that's it. But oh man, we need someone who knows football, who actually knows about football and really cares for the football. But this guy, I'm sorry. I mean, I just think he's weak. He's not really a football person anyway. Do you know what I mean? He's more like a salesman than a football than charge the FA. Simple as that. Let's say about this guy, the better, because it's just going to wind us up. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they had a good purpose in the beginning, but now, I mean, we haven't even talked about they still got the same. Like we talk about 100 million 10 years ago. What is not 100 million now? 100 million 10 years ago, you could buy 100 players, and today is one or two, if that, top players. So it needs to be adjusted. I think it could be a lot easier for our perspective if if you would say, well, every new club that gets a new owner has 2 years, 3 years to do what they need to do, and then they have to go by the rules. I mean, I could go with that. I would agree with that. But the PIF has to just go in this, and really have to have their hands are tied behind their back. So, but that's kind of an idea that some pundits have been saying on TV as well. If you're a new owner, you should have a year or 2 years, 3 years to be able to invest in your club and get it right, or try to, and that could be an option. But there's a lot of it that needs to be changed anyway, not just what we talked about.
Martin, the Man City fan, he says, again, nothing about overspending with us. He says, we are completely fine PSR FFP wise. It's a lot deeper. We won our case at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and we will win to prove our innocence again.
Can I ask you a question of that, Paul? If Man City won their case, do you think it's going to open a whole can of worms back in the Premier League? Will it embarrass the Premier League if Man City were cleared of all charges? I just said hypothetically.
Well, they're going to be guilty of something. I mean, that's my opinion, because 115, 115, you bound to get one of them. There's got to be a reason to why they charge them. But in all fair and honesty, we don't know what really happened. Mancunian Way, what was his name again? I forgot. Martin. With all due respect, my brother, you don't even know what happened. You don't even know if your club is guilty or not, because it's just the way it is. Fans don't know, but you can have an opinion, you can have a say, of course. And but if you talk, I'm just saying, for the common sense perspective, 115 charges, all of them are going to be not guilty. I don't know. It's difficult, but again, they are innocent until proven guilty, fellas. So that's the way the law is.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is very interesting about Coffee saying.
Yeah, NUFC made £27 million in commercial income in 2007. Yeah.
Well, that 27 million back then in 2007 is worth a lot more than 26 million now. And meaning our club probably was, commercially higher than what it is now, because I believe that's when that's when Mike Ashley, around that time. I'm sorry, I'm saying his name in your channel. Sorry, but I believe that's when he took over. So you can see that now. 2022 is when PIF took over, and you're talking about 26 million, meaning it's a lot less than what it was. You can tell what he's done to our club, the minute, and how he's brought it to such a low value as far as commercial is concerned. So but I think we're on our way up with that. We're gonna get that sorted out, no question.
Yeah, absolutely, we will. Foxy's in the chat. Tony, John, and Chris. He says, I hope John hasn't been talking about wanting Benteke again.
Benteke. Oh, mate.
Don't want Benteke, thank you very much.
No. No,
He must be retired now, is he not?
Christian Benteke. Well, I mean, I'm
Christian
sure he
Benteke.
is. No, actually, I think
No, he's not. He's
he
still
might be
playing.
playing. He might be playing in America somewhere,
All right.
which is about the same thing. So
I
Yeah.
believe he
But
is
it's-
playing. I think he's playing in Major League Soccer with DC
Yeah.
United. I think
Yeah.
there we go.
DC United.
He played a little bit.
Fiesta,
He was an all right player, man. But I mean,
yeah.
yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, if Villa, Benteke was the real deal, but then he left there and his career just went to pot, didn't it,
Oh,
after that?
He
And
did.
He went to Liverpool and thought that that was gonna be it, but no, it didn't turn out that way. Some players are just
yeah.
made to be middle team players, man. Middle league.
Yeah,
players.
vacancies. You take Solanke, but not Lloyd Kelly. John?
I said a couple months ago I wouldn't have Solanke, to be fair. I mean, you need a better player. Double Solanke, he's having his best season with Bournemouth, right? Scored double for us. He's 16 goals this season, right? Since then, it's been single figures. He's got to do it again with Bournemouth before I can make a decision on him. Look, he looks good, but he's got to do it again. He's got to score. He'll get 20 this season. He's got to do it again with Bournemouth the following season, and then we go for it. What I don't want is to sign him on the back of a good season. You get mugged off. Simple. Look at Christian Benteke. Brilliant for Villa. Went to Liverpool. Didn't quite hit it off. Went to Palace. Still okay there. And there you go. So for me, I wouldn't do it again. We need to do better than Dominic Solanke. No disrespect, by the way.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I mean, I don't think it will ever happen because they won a lot of money. He's not really proven to be a top striker for what they want for him, and I'm not interested really. Again, I would rather have Giroud or Lewandowski because you got to know.
Yeah.
I mean, Isak is going to be the starter.
I'd take Louis. I'd take Giroud. I'd take Giroud over Solanke.
So yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but you just never know. He might come and impress everybody, but I just don't see it. And plus, I think a good Isak is lethal, man. Is I don't think, but he's got to be able to be there, and he hasn't really this season. So we'll see.
Yeah. A copy says Richard Masters is the same guy who called Forest and Everton small clubs. Well, the thing is, Coffee, right? If he thinks Forest is a small club, just let me run through this little list for you for 1 minute, Coffee. And FA Cup winners, obviously 1897, 1958 they won it. The runners up in 1991 season. Football League Cup, that's the Carabao Cup as it is now. They won it in 78, 79, 89 and 90. They were runners up in 80 and 92. They won the Charity Shield in 78. They won the Full Members Cup, which used to be another type of league cup, 89 and 92. They won the European Cup, which is now the Champions League, in 79 and 1980. They won the European Cup, Super Cup in 1979. They've won the Anglo-Scottish Cup in 1977. They won the Football League Centenary Tournament in 1988. I remember that. I remember that quite well because I remember we lost to Tranmere in that. We got beat 2-0 off Tranmere Rovers, believe it or not. Eric Nixon had a blinding game in goal that day for Tranmere Rovers. But looking at Forest, I mean, First Division, which is now the Premier League, they were champions in 77, 78. So Richard Masters, to call Forest a small club is very, very disrespectful when you see, they were decorated with trophies under like Brian Clough. And for Richard Masters to come out and call him a small club, disgusting, isn't it, Chris?
Oh yeah, it's it's crazy. It's crazy. People like that shouldn't be able to have a mic in front of them. To be honest, I mean they hold a position where they have to be unbiased and have respect for all clubs. And the fact that he just said that it just doesn't make any sense, man. But that's it doesn't. It doesn't. But anyways, fellas, I had to go. I had to go with you know I got a little baby, so I had to go and help out.
Yes.
But appreciate you for having me, Tony and John.
No
I'm sure
problem.
we'll see each other, man.
Yes,
Thanks
we
very
will
much
do,
for
mate.
coming
No
in,
worries.
man.
Cheers, Chris.
See you.
Cheers,
Take care,
Chris.
Chris.
Thanks,
Take care.
mate. Thank you. That was Chris. Yeah, John, disrespectful, isn't it, to talk about Forest like that when they've won all that? Do you know what I mean?
I tell you what, though. I mean, if I was a Forest fan, right, then I would have quite happy tweeted it out to Richard Masters. Or even listen to us, I don't know. But I told you, this guy's a muppet. He's an absolute pork chop to come out and say that and say things like, doesn't know Forest history. That just goes to show that this guy is he's green. The guy is absolute clown when it comes to football. Do you know what I mean? Could you imagine if Brian Clough was alive today, right? Or manage a club and he comes out and say things like that? Clough would find him and give a bloody right hook.
Yeah. You would do, wouldn't he? We know what Clough's like. Martin says Forest gambled and it didn't work, same as Everton. But Forest hired a top lawyer and admitted guilt and got reduced points. Yeah, they had the lawyer. We had Nick DeMarco. And you know, but at least they admitted it. Which is good in a way because at least they've got some sort of leniency from that. But Everton, John, another 6 points, and they'll be in the relegation zone on 19 points if they get hit with that.
Mm. Yeah.
Do you think they'll go down this season if they do?
I don't think they will. I mean, Everton always finds a way. They'll always find a way. I think Forest will start as well, by the way. I think Everton will be fine.
Yeah.
But I tell you something now, right? I mean, Everton will find a way of staying up. They always do. And it goes to show, like I said earlier, the Premier League are clamping down big time. They're not going to mess about now that there's some proper stability. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. But let's hope it doesn't happen to us one day. I don't think it will happen to us yet. But it looks like we're going to have to sell someone. But Everton, I think all Newcastle fans want to see them relegated. But could this be the year? I don't think it will.
Yeah. Ronald hits the nail on the head. He says Spurs billionaire owner Joe Lewis has pleaded guilty after being indicted in the US for insider trading. How does this not affect them at all? I'm sure if once he's once they sort out his sentence and everything and whatever's happening to him, then maybe the Premier League will get involved. But I don't think they can get involved until this has actually gone all the way through the courts. Even though he's pleaded guilty, there'll have to be probably a sentencing hearing and all this, so they'll have to wait for all that. And then once the criminal case is over, that's when the Premier League will get involved. That's probably why there's nothing being said at this moment in time. Do you think so, John?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything, can they, until, like you said, Tony, until the court case is over. Do you know what I mean? But it'd be interesting to see what they do, the Premier League. They probably just sweep it underneath the carpet, you know what I mean? Putting the back end of the wood part of the Big Six. Wouldn't surprise us.
Yeah. Alan says at the end of 99, Toon were 13th richest in football. Yeah, absolutely. We were. Yeah, definitely. Because we were under John Hall then, weren't we? But yeah. It's it's going to be interesting to see how the season pans out now, John. I mean, realistically, John, where do you think we'll finish this season? If you had to put your hand on your heart, where do you think we'll finish? Personally, or you can have two predictions, one with your head or one with your heart. If you want to go with your heart and your head, tell me where you think your head's telling you finish and where your heart tells you finish.
I think we're just doing scraping the neck. I think our season 12th and 14th and that. For me, I'm going to say about if. I'd say if. And that might just be good enough for Europe, but for me, it's going to be if. But I think, Tony, these next two games, is going to tell us where you're going to go. With West Ham at home, Everton at home, out and Fulham on top of that as well. And then you got Tottenham. You got to win these 2 home games, Tony. And if we don't, then I hate to say it, but it's not coming from me or you. I think it's going to come from the media. They're going to put Eddie under pressure.
And
he doesn't deserve that, man.
No, I mean, look, yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, look, normally after we've had an international break, we win our next game back. So hopefully we continue that trend. We do beat West Ham. And we have got a game in hand over them as well. Fulham away will be tough because they took Tottenham apart 3-0 at the weekend, and they're starting to come into a bit of form now. So that might be a bit of a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're only a couple of points behind us, so the pressure really is on. If we don't beat West Ham, then Fulham and Chelsea win, because remember, Chelsea's got Burnley, Fulham's got Sheffield United. They win them games, which on paper, they should both win them games. We'll drop into 12th place.
Going to Everton on a week Tuesday, going to Fulham away, that's going to be tough. Then the next 2 is going to be gigantic. Spurs at home, United away. If you look at what we got left, they should be winnable games. Yeah, they should be winnable games. The problem is, right, we can score goals, but by God, our defence is shocking, man. Shocking. Yeah. We can see the same goals away as Sheffield United. Fulham's playing well. Everton, they will fight for their lives against us, I'm sure. They will fight in the relegation dogfight. West Ham are playing really well. They're playing really well. Do you know what I mean? They're scoring goals as well, especially away from home. But you know what? If we don't qualify for Europe, Tony, Ben, I'll be honest with you, I can't really be that bothered. I just want the season to end and then go again in the summer. Do you know what I mean? You know, a lot of injuries, players out, key players out as well. Doesn't help, as I told me. So I hope that we just see the season out here. Let it just carries on. Do you know what I mean?
Joe Linton says 12th for him. Brian reckons 14th. Oh, Jesus, Brian.
I tell you what, if that's 14 PIF, I'm going to look at that and say, you know what, that ain't acceptable. And it needs to go to show that. So I know every team's got injuries. I get that. But at the end of the day, you finished 14th from finishing 4th last season. That's going backwards, man.
That's a 10-place drop. Coffee reckons 9th. Andrew says, I'll answer after the West Ham game. Paul says 7th. Paul Mann, that's not a bad shout.
I'll take 7th.
Brian said, I just can't see us getting many points now. Andrew says, I think if we're poor in the next game, Piff will act. Mad Max says, shit teams but unreal chip shops near Nottingham cricket ground, best I've ever had.
I like it.
It's true what House said, this break has come at a good time.
Yeah, he did. I think he said that, didn't he? I'm sure he did.
Joe Litton says, we can't defend. If we could defend, maybe higher, but meh. I mean, look, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, my head says, I think we'll finish 10th. But my heart says we'll finish 7th. So, so I've got 2 there. But again, I want to see how we get on in a game against West Ham. That's the key game for me because that's a 6-pointer. If we lose that, I think there could be something going on in the pipeline. We don't know.
Nobody knows.
I mean, remember now, John.
Nobody knows.
Hansi Flick, the ex-Bayern Munich in Germany manager, has now said he's ready to return to management, whether it's the Premier League or Barcelona. So, could PIF be looking at him? He's a winner, John. Hansi Flick.
He is still at Bayern Munich.
Yeah. he had a bad time at Germany. Yeah, fair enough, and you can't really judge him on that. That's a national team, but club football, Bayern Munich, he won everything for them, didn't he?
He has. And you know what? He plays attacking football as well, which is great. And Eddie's our manager, and everyone needs to respect that. But if it's going to come, I'll back any manager that comes through the door.
Sefton says, off we to saying all, he says, we're off into Liverpool to the nightclub as I did when I was 18 at the Mayfair in Newcastle to bring in my free bus pass. Thank you all for your birthday wishes. How are you, the lads? Have a good night, Sefton.
You take care, Sefton.
Yeah. And just hope you don't get, don't get too drunk, Sefton, because you might end up being tied naked to a lamppost somewhere in Liverpool.
That.
Or somebody might take in you, or somebody might put a Liverpool shirt on you or something. But have a good evening, mate. Anyway, enjoy it. Bias says 7th. Gary says, John, the media can put up all the pressure they want on anyhow. The board have assured Eddie that he has their support. They're not blind. Next season will be everyone's focus.
Do you know what it is? Right? I mean, I'm back at Eddie Howe. I said about 20 minutes ago that Amanda saying that Eddie is safe. Eddie, they got this support as well. I think I mentioned that. But like you said, also the PIF's got to make a decision as well. But I'm Eddie in, and that's down to the Southern Press again. TalkSport, BBC, and all that sort of thing. You know, he's under pressure, etc. They can say as much as they want, but for us, it'll be next season. I hope we say next season to put things right.
Yeah, but you've got to get the right players.
He's got to be ruthless as well. Get rid of his fear bets because we'll be watching. At the end of the day, do not play players by the birth certificates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Stop playing your favourites and be ruthless. That's exactly what you got to do, John.
Exactly.
Philip Shuttleworth says, Man U game is the FA Cup semi-weekend, so it's been postponed. It's now in midweek. Yeah, I saw that, Philip. Yeah. So hopefully, I'd say hopefully we've got some players back by then as well.
I see if I can get 2 days off. Then, if there's a ticket available for that night game, then I may go to that game as well. I think I'm on probation on my new job, so I might be able to do it. I may be able to do it.
Any news on the director of football, says Joe Linton?
Not
the
yet.
only thing we know, Joe Linton, is we know Thiago Pinto Sui's hat in the ring. And also we know Paul Mitchell's very interested in the job as well. So, the club have got a firm looking out for director of football. So they've hired a company to go and do the recruitment. So I suppose we'll just find out when it happens as well. Coffee says, why are TalkSport giving platform to Bruce? Why does Bruce only talk about Newcastle, not the other clubs he's managed? Exactly, Coffee. Up to Piff, not Amanda. They own the majority of the club.
She's on the majority.
Yeah, they do. Can you see in the future them buying Amanda's shares off her, PIF?
Anything can happen, can they? She's only got 6% left, and she apparently, I could be wrong, but can you imagine they buy all the shares off her? She won't have a place on Newcastle, won't she?
Well, it would have to employ her as and pay her a wage, but the reason she sold 4% was because she, obviously, as an owner, she has to put 10% into the club. And apparently she couldn't put 10% in because she can't afford to. That's what was being banded about. How true that is, we don't know.
Well, we don't know, don't we? No one knows. But again, she might have a little say now. She might have a little say if they're going to buy shares and that. But again, she's got to play some role at the club. She's got to play some role at the club, Tony. Seriously. But
yeah.
You know what I mean? She's still got shares, so she may have a say. But most people said that she doesn't make the final decision. PF does. But again, we don't know that.
Yeah. Joe Linton says, good night. I'm going for a shower and eat my supper. Great show. Cheers, Joe Linton. Thank you very much. And yes, we are going to be wrapping up as well. It's been a great show, guys. It's been fantastic. The fan zone again. Thank you to everybody watching as well. But we're not quite gone yet, so don't just jump off yet. John, give yourself a shout out, mate, and where people can find you.
No problem. Thanks so much for having us on again, Tony. And it's been a great show and a neat like. And I was going to go anyway because I'll be in bed soon myself as well. But yeah, if you do go to John Sinclair TV, you can find us on Instagram, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on YouTube and also on Twitter as well. I do the previews, reviews. I also do football talk as well, collab show, and I've also going to do that Real Talk podcast on a Monday with you and Pete. I think that show was great last week. I really enjoyed that, man. But I'm going to do that not 7 o'clock. I'm going to do that at 8 o'clock, which I think is better for us. So if I do that at 8 o'clock, do the Real Talk podcast show on a Monday and just talk about the latest news on Newcastle, basically. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
we could talk about players coming in as well, sort of thing, and chuck it in as well. Just it's like a weekly football Newcastle talk, really. So yeah, just if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, guys. Yeah, and I'm always Toad's going to come on, Pete's going to come on, and hopefully Chris and others as well. So just support my channel as well as Tony's.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Yeah, guys. So don't forget. Tomorrow, I've not got a show tomorrow, but on Friday, I'm looking to do some sort of show. So possibly maybe having a look at the Women's League Cup final on the Saturday. But don't forget, if you have liked what you see, please don't forget to smash that like, follow Sean the Sheep, and smash that thumbs up. Thank you very much. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe, be part of this great community. Hit that bell notification to keep you up to date with any future shows. Or any live or pre-records as well. And Saturday, I am at Kenilworth Road, so I will be doing vlogs. So keep an eye on them being uploaded, and hopefully Newcastle women might win a trophy, and I might actually see Newcastle win a trophy. Albeit I know it's the women's team, but yeah, still, a trophy's a trophy at the end of the day. I've seen the championship trophy lifted twice, but definitely wouldn't mind seeing it. Definitely wouldn't mind seeing a Newcastle lifting a trophy. 40 thumbs up. Thanks all. Thank you very much indeed. Mad Max, are you doing a pre-match for the England game, Tony or John? I'm not sure. It depends. Depends what time I get back from the game, because obviously it's 2:30 kick-off the women's game, and that's all depends if it goes to extra time, penalties. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it's settled in full time. If it is settled in normal time, I'll be home probably for the England game, because I know it's a 7 p.m. kickoff. And Luton Town's about an hour and just over an hour and a half from where I live, so it's not too far.
Cool.
Are you going? John and Tony going to the final? I'm going to the final. I don't think you are. You going?
I'm not going, mate.
No, John's not going, but I'm definitely going.
I would love to have gone, but I missed it.
Coffee says, "What do you think about the England's home and away kit?"
I'll go honest with you. I know it's 85 quid. I haven't even looked at it, but for what I've heard, what do you think of it, Tony? I have not seen it.
I'm going to have a proper look at the away kit, but I know the home kit. The home kit looks all right, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen it, but like you said, I mean, mixed versions, I believe. So I need to look at it myself, and it'd be interesting to see what it's like. So I'll just have a wee look at it, and hopefully get back. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm going
to have to have a good look around at it, and just have a good look at the ins and outs and see what it looks like. And purple away top, says Paul. All right, okay, it's purple. Different.
Interesting.
Yeah. But guys, that's us coming to the end of the show. And remember, the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white. It's bye-bye from me.
Brilliant stuff. Absolutely. Kind of been a black and white ass. So,
Absolutely. How are the lads?
I will, lads. Take care, guys. See you soon.